If you are a mother, father, or even planning to have kids in future, please don't skip this story. This story will shock you and is what every parent needs to hear. Stay with me till the end of this story. This is a true life story. Let's go.
I got married when I was 24 years old. My husband and I were full of joy and dreams, but year after year, we waited for a child, and nothing happened. Each month came with tears and disappointment. My friends already had children, but I was still empty-handed. I cried every night, asking God to remember me. My husband, with his sharp Afro-punk haircut, would hold me and say, "Don't worry, one day it will happen." But deep inside, I feared maybe it would never come. After 8 long years, God answered us. I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. His skin shone like fresh palm oil, and his eyes were bright like morning stars. The day I held him in my arms, I felt alive again. I danced with my long braids flying behind me, and neighbors came to celebrate. My husband smiled widely, his face glowing with pride. Finally, our home was filled with laughter. Motherhood was sweet, but it was also tiring. The baby cried all night, and I barely had time to rest. My body was weak, and I was losing weight. My husband suggested we should get a house help to assist me. At first, I refused because I wanted to handle everything myself. But after I almost fainted one morning, I realized I needed someone to help us take care of our precious son. That was when Ngozi came into our lives. She was young, tall, and beautiful, with neatly braided hair that touched her back. She had a calm smile that made me trust her immediately. My husband also liked her because she looked very clean and respectful. She bowed when she greeted, and her voice was soft like a child's. I thought God had truly. From the very first week, I noticed something strange. Ngozi never ate with us. Whenever I prepared rice or swallow, she would politely smile and say she was not hungry. At first, I thought maybe she was shy. But even after 1 month, she never touched any food in the house. She only drank water, yet her body looked strong and fresh. One evening, my husband whispered to me, "Have you noticed Ngozi doesn't eat?" I nodded because I had been thinking about it too. He suggested we should ask her directly. When we asked, she just smiled and said, "Madam, I don't eat much. I am okay like this." Her neat braids shone under the bulb light, and her calm face made us drop the matter. But deep inside, I was not satisfied. One morning, I noticed my baby looked pale. His lips were no longer bright, and his body felt weak. I rushed him to the hospital, but the doctor said there was nothing serious. Still, I felt uneasy. I watched as my son cried most nights, especially between midnight and 2 a.m. Something was wrong, but I could not understand what it was. Every night, I stayed awake to watch over my child. My husband slept peacefully, but my eyes were always wide open. The house was too quiet, and sometimes, I heard soft footsteps near the baby's room. When I checked, I would see Ngozi standing by the window, humming a strange tune. She would quickly smile at me and say, "I was just checking on the baby." When my mother visited, she pulled me aside. "This girl you brought into your house, are you sure you know her background?" she asked in a low voice. I told her not to worry, but her eyes were sharp with suspicion. "Something about her spirit is not clear. Watch closely, my daughter," she warned before she left. One night, I entered the baby's room quietly. The light was dim, but I saw Ngozi leaning over the baby's cot. Her long braids fell forward as if she was whispering something to him. When I stepped in, she quickly stood up and smiled. "Madam, I was just singing lullaby for him." My heart beat fast, but I forced a smile back. The baby's cries grew worse. Every night, he cried as if someone was hurting him. I would carry him, but he refused to stop until morning. My husband said maybe it was normal baby growth, but my spirit told me it was more than that. Something invisible was happening in my own house. I told my friend Amoka about Ngozi's strange behavior. Amoka looked at me seriously and said, "Be careful. Some people are not ordinary. Pray very well." Her words kept ringing in my head. That night, I could not sleep. I kept staring at Ngozi, trying to understand who she really was. I decided to start watching Ngozi secretly. I pretended to sleep at night but left my eyes slightly open. I wanted to catch her if she was doing anything strange. At exactly 1 a.m., I saw her moving slowly towards the baby's room. My heart almost stopped, but I kept quiet and followed behind her. When she entered the baby's room, I stayed at the door, peeping. The baby started crying softly as she bent over him. I couldn't see clearly, but it looked like she was placing her face close to his skin. The baby's cry became weaker, and I rushed in quickly. She turned sharply, smiling as if nothing happened. I asked Ngozi why she always went to the baby's room at night. She laughed softly and said, "Madam, I love this baby like my own brother. I can't sleep when he cries." Her voice was gentle, and her neat appearance made it hard to suspect her. But deep inside, fear was growing in me like fire. When I told my husband what I saw, he frowned. "Are you sure you are not just tired and imagining things?" he asked. I became angry. "So you think I am lying?" He hugged me and begged me to calm down. But I could see he did not fully believe me. The baby's body kept getting weaker. Even his doctor was surprised because he was eating well but still looked pale. My mother returned again and said firmly, "My daughter, there is something sucking life from this child. Open your eyes before it is too late." Each time I looked at Ngozi, she gave me a calm smile that made me uneasy. It was as if she knew something I didn't. She dressed neatly, her braids shining, her eyes innocent. But my spirit told me she was hiding something terrible. One night, I prayed deeply before sleeping. I begged God to reveal the truth to me. As I prayed, the baby slept quietly for the first time in weeks. But around 2 a.m., I heard soft humming again. It was Ngozi's voice, sweet but chilling. I opened the door suddenly, and this time, I caught her. She was leaning too close to the baby, her face almost touching his skin. She jumped back immediately, wiping her mouth with her hand. My legs shook, but I shouted, "Ngozi, what are you doing?" Ngozi looked at me with calm eyes. "Madam, I was only checking if he was breathing well," she said softly. Her words confused me, but my spirit still screamed that something was wrong. I could not sleep again that night. The next morning, I told my husband everything again. He sighed and rubbed his head. "You are too stressed. Rest your mind," he said. I kept quiet, but my heart was boiling. Why was he blind to what I was seeing? Out of fear, I took my baby for another hospital check. The doctor looked worried. "Madam, this baby is losing blood, but we don't see the cause," he said. My hands shook. Losing blood. My heart raced as my mind returned to Ngozi. That day, when Ngozi went to fetch water, I searched her small box. Inside, I found strange old beads and a black cloth folded neatly. Fear gripped me. I quickly closed the box before she returned. My body shivered as I asked myself, who really is this girl? I shared my worries with a neighbor. She gasped and said, "That girl looks like the house help who once walked in our street." That baby also became weak until the family sent her away. My body went cold. Could this be the same girl? That night, I refused to sleep. I stayed awake holding my baby. Around 2 a.m., I saw Ngozi standing at the door, watching me quietly. When I shouted, she smiled and walked away slowly. My whole body trembled. When I told my husband what happened, he became angry. "You are turning this house into a war zone," he shouted. Tears dropped from my eyes. I felt alone, as if I was the only one fighting for my child's life. The next morning, my baby did not cry as usual. He lay silently, looking weak. I shook him, and tears rolled down my face. I carried him and whispered, "You will not die in my hands." My heart was breaking. As I held my baby, Ngozi entered the room. Her eyes were sharp for the first time. She looked at the baby with a strange hunger.
Thank you for watching. Please watch out for the part 2 of this story, and also tell me in the comment section what you would have done if you were in the shoe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so that more people will learn from this true life story. Bye. On Omalicha TV, your everyday home. See you there.
God.